Transitioning service members can view their transition in three distinct phases: the preparation phase, transition phase, and the success phase. With the preparation phase, first and foremost, transitioning service members need to own their transition. They need to understand that they are the ones that's going to drive the determination, the confidence within their transition. And they need to speak with their family members as well throughout the transition to ensure that they have that support group as they go forward in transition and prepare for that transition. Also, within the preparation phase, we need to understand that we need to ensure that we want our transition to resemble whenever we prepare for a mission. Whenever we prepare for a mission, we went in full speed, understanding that we wanted to make sure all angles were covered. So view your transition as a mission, knowing that you want to successfully succeed in your mission. And additionally, with the preparation phase, you want to ensure that you develop a strong network, whether you have individuals that are in the private sector and also veterans that have transitioned and gone off and transitioned successfully in the private sector. Understand that you can reach out to these individuals and have them become mentors for you. In the transition phase, you want to make sure that you have that opportunity to look at 12 to 24 months out. Within that time, that's going to give you ample time to understand the preparation piece and understand that you want to transition with excellence. Within the transition phase, you want to ensure that you're able to know what company you want to work for, what type of career you want to have, what does it take to ensure that you can get that career, and then go for it once you understand those are the things that you want to do. When you're looking for that key career, find folks that are in those careers right now. And again, you can go out and find those valuable mentors that are out there willing to help you and want to see you succeed. And then once you get through the preparation phase and the transition phase, and then we embrace the success phase. In that phase, you want to find that company that fits your core values, fits your passion, something that you want to be passionate about going to work each and every day. And then also within the success phase, we want to ensure that you are continually to develop yourself, continually to train each and every day as you're on your new career so that you continue to ascend within your career. Additionally, within the success phase, we want to ensure that you are transitioning with excellence, and once you find that great career, you want to make sure that you're able to give back. Find those nonprofit organizations that are passionate about veterans, passionate about military families, and offer your services to those nonprofit organizations so others that come after you can transition with excellence. And once you are able to succeed, we want the entire private sector and civilian workforce know that veterans are able to get the job done.
Throughout your transition, a lot of people are going to recommend that you expand your network. Networking is very important, but the most important thing that they're missing when they're telling you this advice is how to actually go about doing it. In the military, we get very comfortable with our support system. Our military community is our network, so we don't like stepping out of our little bubble. But what ends up happening is that you end up not having the right resources available to you when you leave the military. So when you're expanding your network, try to think about this. Think about the 5 people closest to you in your life. How likely are they to be able to articulate your skills and experience to people as they come across them in their own network? If they can't articulate the skills you have, if they don't know the kind of jobs you're looking for or considering, then they're not going to do you any good. What I come across a lot is people tell me, yes, my brother-in-law was in the military and he's a really good guy and he even deployed a couple of times. When I ask, what else is he doing? What else has he done? What is he qualified to do? They can't really tell me. They just know he was a soldier, a Marine, an airman. That doesn't really tell me a lot about your skill set. So as an employer, it's going to be very important for them to be able to identify the skills that you bring to the table. And make sure your network knows how to articulate that. Train them so that they know what you're looking for and how to tell people how you're qualified to do it. If you need to, you can even give them a copy of your resume so that if they're ever asked for it, it's readily available. The other thing you want to make sure you do is use your resources. A lot of service members come to me and tell me that they're not interested in signing up for specific programs because they're afraid to use up the resources that might be necessary or might be needed by some of their brothers or sisters in arms. But what ends up happening is those resources aren't renewed because nobody's using them. So make sure you're using them. This is our way in the nonprofit world, in the private sector, in the corporate world, to pay you back for your service. That's why these resources are there. So make use of them. There's no shame in reaching out for help. The process is not easy, and you're going to need these resources to help make it a smoother transition. When we are in the military, we are kind of spoiled because we have a legal office that's on hand whenever we need it. We have a financial officer who's ready to provide us advice and guidance on our finances. We have counselors, mental health professionals. We have resume writers. Everyone within the gates is there to support you. The military readiness programs are very stealth. But what ends up happening when you step out of the gate is that you don't know where to find those resources in the civilian world. So make sure you start connecting to those resources as early as possible so that you know who's out there and who can help you. The last resource I'm going to recommend that you tap into is your military spouse. Military spouses have learned to be very adaptable and resilient and have made it through their transitions over and over again. They've reestablished their networks that with every PCS move, they have had to rewrite their resumes and sometimes even reinvent their career or start over from entry-level positions when they qualify for much more. So make sure you tap into that last resource because that will most likely be the most valuable one.
By now you know there are many factors to consider in a successful transition. You know that you have to create a good resume, you want to network, you want to brand yourself. There are all kinds of things to prepare yourself for your next career. But there are other things that you need to consider when you are going through transition. For example, where do you want to live? Do you have family? Where will your family be happy and successful as well? There is a sea of goodwill out there in communities across the United States. America loves its veterans, and America wants to help. But navigating all of the different resources can be a challenge. It is extremely beneficial for you to look at all of the resources that are available to you as a starting point. For example, your city, your county, or your state may have Veterans Affairs offices. Your county veteran service office is a great place to begin, especially when you consider your veterans' benefits. You need to consider where you want to live, the cost of living there, what the job market looks like. What do you really need to be happy and to be able to support your family? You know that there are veterans' benefits out there for you, whether it's for employment or education, whether you're going to file a claim for some sort of compensation from the Department of Veterans Affairs. All of those things are important for you to consider. But you need to know that you don't have to do this by yourself. There are county veteran service offices across the United States that are here to help you. People are trained to help you address all of those different areas, whether it's navigating your veterans' benefits through the Department of Veterans Affairs, or maybe there are some state benefits that you weren't aware of. Your local resources are extremely important too, and understanding those can be a big factor in helping you select where you want to live. Do you have children? Understanding schools, understanding the environment. When you're looking to select a location to live, you want to understand the job market. What are the average salaries for the field that you want to go into? But aside from that, what does your family need? Do you have children? Are they still in school? All of those things are things to consider. If you are going to transition and don't want to go directly into employment and you want to go to school instead, what are your education benefits? Some things that you may not know are that your benefits may not be available to you immediately, or there may be breaks. And those are the things that you also need to consider as well and look into. Fortunately, you don't have to do this by yourself. There are people that are trained to help you navigate all of your veterans' benefits and all of the local resources at your city, county, and state agencies. When military members come into my office to discuss transitioning out of the military, a lot of times statements are made such as, well, I have a resume on file, but I haven't submitted it yet, or
I'm not ready to submit my resume or look for where we're going to relocate because I still have a year or so left on my enlistment, or I'm not planning on retiring for a year or two from now. And when those statements are made, I often advise the service member that you want to take charge of your transition and you want to start planning for it earlier rather than later. Government officials have recognized that there are several and a plethora of resources out there that help service members and their families in their transition. Recent research studies have identified that there are common stressors associated with military members transitioning from the military to civilian life. Some of those stressors include finding suitable employment, finding adequate pay, as well as where they're going to relocate their families. Due to the enormous amount of information and resources out there to help service members navigate towards a successful transition, policymakers understand that it takes more than just a year to plan for a successful transition. With that being stated, they've implemented programs such as Soldier for Life, as well as the Military Life Cycle. These programs help the military member to have a plan A, B, and C at the onset of their military career. This enables the military member to start thinking about their transition while they are serving in the military. Whether they're serving for 4, 6, 10, or 20 years, it is important for the service member to start thinking about their transition out of the military. Because let's face it, life happens, right? And you want to take charge of your own life by being in charge of your transition.